This is the Wet Lunch on the High Seas podcast with historian Stephen Ujifusa. Business, history, and culture with a nautical twist. When Christ comes again, when the Messiah comes, when the revolution comes. I'm an historian, not a philosopher, and definitely not a theologian. It is clear, however, that we are living in times where people are looking for some sort of redemption, some sort of escape, some way to bring along better times, possibly even a utopia. There was hope for this when I was a college student, a doctrine of globalization laid out with the famous phrase, the end of history, that was pioneered by Francis Fukuyama. Liberal democracy all over the world. Well, that dream has been shattered, undone by hubris, greed, tribalism, and all the human failings that include the best and the worst of us. And of course, the road to hell being paved with good intentions. The Crystal Palace Dostoevsky mocks in Notes from the Underground. I went to college in the late 1990s. One of my favorite classes was with a professor named Donald Fleming, who taught a legendary set of courses in European and American intellectual history. His accent was one thing. When asked by a history graduate student if he was British, his response was, "No, my accent is pure affectation." Dr. Fleming was from Baltimore. But I did find myself turning recently to these lessons I heard all those years ago. We did study a lot of George Friedrich Hegel, who famously said, "The owl of Minerva spreads its wings only with the falling of dusk." And this one is particularly relevant. Genuine tragedies in the world are not conflicts between right and wrong. They are conflicts between two rights. There sure isn't a lot of wisdom in the ether today, and it certainly feels like dusk these days, and a noisy one at that, not a peaceful one. Might I argue that polarization represents people looking for the same thing, just from different perspectives? The dictatorship of the proletariat in Marxism is a secular version of the Last Judgment, in which the collective proletariat, with one voice like a Greek chorus, punishes the capitalist bourgeoisie, the sinners, and redistributes material goods and power to the blessed, the workers. There is no nuance, no debate. Judgment is final. Being content with one's lot or making peace with the current state of affairs or of abrogating control is a kind of heresy or complicity. The same sort of argument can be made from a religious standpoint. There is so much sin in this world, it must be redeemed and stamped out so that the second coming can occur, and the righteous forever shall dwell in paradise. I disagree with Marx in general. I'm an Enlightenment man, a believer in Locke, John Adams, and Benjamin Franklin. I think Marxist orthodoxy becomes yet another hardened form of religious-type dogma. However, Marx does make a shrewd observation about religion. Religion is the impotence of the human mind to deal with occurrences it cannot understand. And that is what we are dealing with now. It can be used reflexively on the philosophical school that bears his name, or on any form of hardened and often humorless view of the world. What supercharged the desire for magical or messianic thinking is the internet. People see what others have, see what they desire, not just in terms of wealth, but also power. The new redemption is either a Marxist state, this time done right, looking at you, USSR, or a theocracy. And just like during the Reformation, something needs to fill a huge spiritual vacuum. The printing press filled the intellectual arena with the idea of solo fides, or faith alone, or interpreting the Bible yourself, of not going through the intermediary of the Roman Catholic Church. Similarly, elites and institutions are now suspect. So is the idea of truth. Sure, a lot of wonderful scholarship came out of this awful time. I think of the prints of Albrecht Dürer, the music of Palestrina, and the sculpture of Michelangelo. But so did a lot of other vices: war, propaganda, corruption, and pornography. It took 100 years of fighting in Europe to push through to the idea of a new paradigm of the Enlightenment, of science, individual rights, and representative government. I don't know what the new paradigm will be in the coming years, but as an historian, I can say is hold on tight to your family, friends, and what you hold dear. This is the dusk of an era. Let's see what we can learn from it. At the same time, find reasons to laugh. As the great Mel Brooks said, as long as the world is turning and spinning, we're going to be dizzy and we're going to make mistakes. This is the Wet Lunch on the High Seas podcast with historian Stephen Ujifusa. Thank you for listening. You can expect new episodes every week. To subscribe to the Wet Lunch on the High Seas podcast, visit steveujifusa.substack.com.